Hello, this is Deborah Cohen with A Story in a Song. And today's broadcast is going to be about the voice that each one of us was given to make sounds called singing. And the misconception that a lot of us have, at least in the United States, that we'll leave the singing to the good voices because most people say, when I ask them, I don't hear you singing in the congregation. And they say, well, I don't have a good voice, I'm not going to sing. And, that was once what I used to say until I found out the benefits of singing. And my favorite prayer book, Lev Shalem, is all about singing. And yet many of us hesitate for various self-conscious reasons. So if you have time, the next 30 minutes, I would like to share with you what singing is and why we all have been gifted by our Creator with a voice to sing. I'll be right back after this message. This is Deborah Cohen. I'm writing meaningful music with a message. Spirituality, pop rock music, interfaith music, and sync music for movie, TV, and film. Check out my music, the story behind the song, and share. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for listening. DeborahCohenMusic.com. And this is Deborah Cohen, and let me begin by sharing one of my favorite poems in my favorite prayer book. This one is on page 9, if you have the Lev Shalem Sidur, and it's written by Rebbe Nachman of Bratslav. Every shepherd knows different tunes appropriate to where the sheep are pasturing and appropriate for the grass growing there. For every kind of grass has a distinctive song. The song the grass sings inspires the shepherd. Would that I might be able to hear the song and the praise that the grasses sing. How each blade sings to the Creator without hesitation, without the interference of any foreign thoughts, and without any expectations. Of reward. Excuse me, I saw the chat there. How beautiful it is to hear their song. How wonderful is their service to God. If I could hear their songs, my heart would be filled, and I would sing the most beautiful song to my beloved, my God. And that is from Rebbe Nachman. So think about that as we begin this journey in singing. And one moment while by the way, the chat is open. The audio is working. I got somebody that says there's no audio. So let me continue. As we dive into this very important topic about communal singing, and the reason this is brought to my attention, because one of my new friends, Janet, I won't mention her last name, she came up to me after the service yesterday and said that she has a desire. And by the way, my t-shirt is desire. Ratzon in Hebrew is desire. She has a desire, and so do others in the congregation, of other people being able to sing, maybe in a choir or at the bima. But they feel, according, if I understand Janet correctly, they feel like they don't have an opportunity to sing. And so I'd like to comment on that in two ways. If you are leading a congregation, I think you should learn how to sing. Unfortunately, like for example, several synagogues that I came from in Georgia, the cantor or cantoress, whatever you call them, the leader, the lead singer, was off key, switched keys in the middle of the same song, couldn't carry a tune, and couldn't project their voice, even with a microphone. And so it's really hard for the congregation to follow somebody that doesn't know how to sing. So I think in that case, you need to take the lessons to sing, but singing lessons are not good enough. You need to have ear training. And in today's day and age, in 2023, I hear a lot of people in congregations that are leading that have not had ear training. And how can you tell? Like I just mentioned, they can't stay in the same key in the same song. They start one verse of song in a certain key, then they either go flat or sharp. It really throws people off, and it really throws me off because I've had ear training. You can get ear training for free online, so there's no excuse. But I'm not talking about singers like that, professional singers. I'm talking about communal singing where everybody discovers their heart voice that requires intention, kavanah. That's something that doesn't happen the first time you open your mouth. Very rarely. It takes practice to develop this voice, but not as a skill set for perfection in vocal scales. It is more finding that inner voice of expression and learning to sing with that voice, whatever it sounds like, in rhythm with the rest of the congregation. That is the key. Learning to listen to the rhythm of the song and singing in rhythm. And that's another thing that I notice where I came from in Georgia, that and I've heard it lately, they're leading the congregation and they've never practiced apparently with a metronome. They don't have their own rhythm developed, and so the song goes, as far as speed, up and down like a roller coaster. Oh, that's so frustrating. Now, I used to be in a rock band in the 80s, and this is secular music, right? They call it new wave music, and we called it, the secular jargon would be, man, that was a great rehearsal. We were all in the pocket. In the pocket. That means we were all in sync. Synchronized. That's what I'm talking about. Synchronized singing. This is something that the congregation needs to be taught. And I think this would be perfect for what Janet was saying to me yesterday. We all need to learn how to sing together. And let's find out why. So let me continue on. And I'm going to share with you an article by a blogger, Maya Rogers, who is a singer, a composer, educator. And I thought this fits perfectly with what Janet was saying to me yesterday, because I just got this revelation in prayer the day before she mentioned it. I'm like, oh, it's like a confirmation, isn't it? Okay, so listen if you can, and let's talk about it or chat during the reading. If you're on twitch.tv/Deborah Cohen Music, the chat box is open when this is live every Sunday, 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time. If you miss the broadcast live, you can watch it in the archives on YouTube. The handle for my YouTube channel is @JewishRockMusic. All right. And Maya says, I believe that everyone who is physically capable of making sound with their vocal cords can and should sing every day. Did you hear that? No excuses. You can sing every day. I know what you're thinking, but for a moment, I'd like to ask you to suspend your disbelief. Now, hear me out. Let's have open ears. Let's suspend any thoughts that are coming into your mind and listen to this opportunity to learn how to sing together as one sacred heart. I'm not implying that everyone should become a professional singer. No, I'm not. Or even that all voices are conventionally pleasing to the ears. We know they're not. What I am suggesting is that human beings are quite literally made to sing. And of course, like I mentioned, my favorite prayer book, it's all about singing. Now, this lady says 2 years ago she was involved in a car accident and suffered a traumatic brain injury. As a result, she was no longer able to sing, play my instruments, she says, or read music. Even listening to music caused a great deal of pain. My lifelong relationship with music and my voice seemed to have come to a halt, and this realization was devastating. My recovery took a turn for the better when I gave myself permission to try to sing again. And maybe that's some of you. You need to give yourself permission first to sing. No matter what those voices are saying, and I can tell you from past experience, my mother she said things about my singing that shut me down for a while. But I had the desire, the ratzon, to sing. Yes, I did. And it was not an easy journey. And just like me, she persisted, and eventually she says I could sing through the tears. Yes, so did I. Finally, after months of this, the tears stopped. For me, it wasn't months of this. It was years of this, decades of this. Singing, getting to that point where I'm singing with the song of my birth. And I always cried, and I never understood why. It embarrassed me. It may have caused me to shut down because I couldn't control my emotions. But what was happening to me is healing. Healing. This turned into singing with others and eventually into teaching music again. There was a part of me that knew the process of rediscovering my voice and helping others discover theirs, which would provide a great deal of healing, both physically and emotionally. What I did not expect to uncover is this important truth. Hear me out. When we allow ourselves the joy of self-expression through our voices, it awakens parts of us that may have been dormant or neglected our entire lives. And again, that was me. We gain access to a deeper inner wisdom, and with this wisdom comes transformative power. And you know, like how Moshe Rabbeinu, he spent time with Hashem in Sinai, and his face was radiant after spending time with God. So when you're singing to God with this intention, with the voice you've been gifted with, it causes transformation in your countenance. The children of Israel told him to cover his face. It's too bright. Well, I just had my 69th birthday, and some of my countenance, as far as wrinkleless in some places, is from singing. That's what it is. It's from singing. But not just singing with a crystal cathedral voice. That's not what I'm talking about. It's not talent or singing Star Search or whatever they call it. It's singing with the voice God gave each one of us in an innate rhythm of the soul. So the author continues, I set out to understand exactly why singing made such a powerful impact on my recovery and how it could benefit everyone. Here are 7 reasons why I believe we should delete the story that says, I can't sing, and let our voices ring out. Like Rabbi Danny says, if you can't sing or you don't know the song, Sing louder! Ring out! Ring out! Ring out! Rena! Everyone wants to sing. How many of us have been told at some point during our formative years that we can't sing, or we shouldn't sing in public because we have a terrible voice? I would venture to say that most everyone has, including myself, a terrible voice to start with. Consequently, we shy away from using our voices to express ourselves and from speaking our truth. Many of the adults that I work with have a traumatizing story from their youth surrounding their voices, and as a result, they stopped singing altogether, and so did I. The reason that these experiences are so hurtful and lasting is because using our voice is instinctual. It is even primal. Deep down, we all want to sing because we were made to do so. And that's what Janet was telling me yesterday. And this is what I was going to teach today before Janet even mentioned this to me. So kudos to you, Janet, for being on the same wavelength. Singing makes us feel good. We can experience pleasure from sound vibrations as they resonate in our mouths and throughout our bodies. Infants know this and tend to use sound to explore on a sensory level well before they use it for communication. Endorphins are released when we sing, which help to promote positive feelings. I always feel so good after I sing, don't you? If you don't, then this is a workshop coming for you. This is especially true when we sing with other people. Group singing also induces the production of oxytocin, the bonding hormone. This can reduce stress, anxiety, and increase feelings of trust and well-being. So can you start to see why it's important for all of the congregation to sing together in rhythm with your special sound? As a result of this author's injury, she often dealt with chronic headaches, and I find that when I'm singing, the pain is significantly reduced. As it turns out, a study published in the Journal of Music Therapy in 2004 confirms that singing helps people cope with chronic pain. It's good for our health. Singing is considered an aerobic activity because of the amount of oxygen that is delivered to the brain. Many of her students report feelings of invigoration, euphoria, or even bliss after their sessions. I attribute these feelings in part to the deep breathing that singing requires. Our breath has immense restorative power, can reduce stress, and can even put us into a meditative state. And moreover, singing decreases cortisol levels, stress hormone that makes that muffin top, ladies, you know what I'm talking about, which allows us to produce more antibodies that boost our immune systems. There are emotional health benefits as well. We see this in the mother's instinct to comfort her crying baby with a song, and in the tradition of a lullaby to put the child to sleep. Singing along to sad songs when we're feeling blue, and happy songs when we're on top of the world, both have a positive impact on our mood. And our brains love singing. Singing is used to treat neurological issues, including stuttering, Parkinson's disease, acquired brain injury, and even autism. It can establish alternate neural pathways, which enhance the overall neuroplasticity of the brain. Playing music in general is proven to have global effects on the brain, such as increased cognitive function, improved memory, and greater problem solving and executive functions. The way it sounds is irrelevant. The best part of it is that we can reap the benefits of singing regardless of the way our voices sound. Stacy Horn, author of Imperfect Harmony, Finding Happiness, Singing with Others, cites a study conducted in 2005 which states that people can still experience the same feelings of pleasure even when the sound being produced is of mediocre quality. Not convinced? Then there's a video on YouTube that shows a deaf woman singing. She makes a disclaimer that she doesn't know if she's a good singer or not, but doesn't care because it's just for fun. As I watch her, it's clear that singing is about feeling, not hearing. Again, singing is about feeling, not hearing. The act of singing itself is what makes us feel good, not what our voices sound like. Singing makes us better people. There's another reason to sing, right? We can attain a great personal insight in addition to the emotional and physiological benefits of singing. When we sing, there's a certain amount of vulnerability that is required. And I know that because, there was a time when I sang like a mouse because I didn't want anybody to hear me. But now I've gotten over that self-consciousness from my heart, with all of my heart, all of my might, all of my soul. Kavanah, it's called in Hebrew. And yes, I don't want to drown out everybody else in the congregation, so I'm learning, and I've learned to be able to sing in a group of people is to be able to hear your voice and everybody else's at the same time. That's part of this learning to sing in rhythm with a congregation. It is possible, but you have to develop your own voice first. And this is what I'm talking about. This vulnerability when we sing allows us to learn a lot about ourselves, what motivates us, what we're capable of, and what we truly desire. Oh, yes. In her 1996 article for the American Music Therapy Association, Dr. Diane Austin writes that Carl Jung believed that, quote, we become ourselves through participating in multiple creative acts, end quote. I would venture to say that through the creative act of singing, we encounter our true selves. In essence, singing on a regular basis can bring us face to face with who we really are and our unique purpose. So if you don't feel like you have any use for yourself at your congregation, maybe it hasn't been revealed to you yet because you haven't used your voice to sing. Singing can help us make the world better. Yes, indeed. When we understand who we are and at our core and what unique qualities we possess, we stop comparing ourselves to each other. And that is so key in any group of people. If you look at or listen to someone else and you start to envy that person, I think you haven't done your own singing exploration yet. And you can tell somebody that is doing that nasty thing called Lashon Hara, aka gossip. If they gossip, you can politely find a way to say, oh, I hear what you're saying and I can help you to find your voice. And this is a way to stop gossip. You don't have to talk about anybody else if you have found your own singing voice. We begin to speak our truth. We are inspired to show up in our lives in a way that reflects the wisdom we've gained. Our newfound creativity allows us to see solutions that we might not have been open to before. Like Janet and I found this revelation, and I'm sharing it with you today. This positive change has a ripple effect which begins in our own lives and then extends to our friends and our family and our schools and our communities and even into the world at large. And I'm not talking about barbershop quartet singing with perfect in-pitch harmonies. That's not the kind of singing I'm talking about here, even though that's a wonderful gift and there's a place for it, but we're not talking about that. In a communal singing like this, there needs to be some strong vocal leaders to nudge the rest of the congregation out of their shell. But once the congregation starts piping in, the lead singers need to be sensitive to that and to lower their voices to the level of the congregation to get to that point of rhythm and unity. It has been suggested that singing in groups can result in a phenomenon called entrainment. Entrainment. The pulses of the singers synchronize as one collective heartbeat. In the same way, standing firmly in who we are reveals that we are part of one massive system, the heart of humanity. Echad. Yes, this is what I refer to in secular terms as in the pocket. It's such a glorious feeling. Besides helping this woman to recover from a serious injury, singing has inspired her to start living her life as a musician that has the power to improve the world. One way that she does this is through a mentorship service for artists of all mediums. She uses the human voice to explore our creative and intuitive gifts so that we become absolute best creations of ourselves coming to life. And so, in what ways has singing and self-expression had an impact on your life or the lives of those around you? I would love to hear about it in your comments below on YouTube. So I hope that you are excited about getting together. Janet, I need to get together with you and start this class, this workshop, and teach others to find their own singing voice. Yes, find their own singing voice. Like I have found, it's possible to develop the self-confidence because you become vulnerable in sharing this primal voice with others. But the more you practice in a group where this is the intention of the group, then we can find the rhythm, not just the metronome rhythm, but the rhythm of the heart of humankind, and lift our voices as one to the Creator. And this is my reason for singing. So thank you for listening. I hope that you will join me next week and every week on twitch.tv/Deborah Cohen Music, or you can find these recordings on YouTube in the archives where live streaming is archived. And I'd like to close in sharing this newest song that I've written and recorded for Israel. It's really a sort of a prophetic song about the hope that we have based on the promises of God. I hope you like it, and I hope that you will share it if you are standing with Israel.
This land of my home, where the desert blooms life and song. We can see the love of God in our Garden of Eden, with loving eyes of moral purity, and have respect for all human life. And what we speak are words of love for our brothers and sisters near and far. This place, my home, in my mind I'm still trying to find it. What I'm seeing is not what John imagined in the song. Maybe it's only a dream, but I feel it in my bones. a place I can call home. So I will journey on to the land of the living soul, where one day we'll be free and unafraid just to be with love all around us. No harm, no fear around me, where we can walk easily in the joy of our very soul. No longer am I looking over my shoulder, because the hatred has been taken from the rib of man. That's when our world will be a place called home. Oh, sweet